Good evening, children. Tonight we're going to be reading Super Me by Igloo Books. Jacob was afraid of almost everything. He didn't like tiny creepy crawlies or creaks on the stairs. He didn't like the dark or mini monsters that hid under his bed. But he dreamed of being as brave as a superhero. "I want to be Super Me," he moaned. Grandma would smile and say that he just needed to stand up tall and do his best. Jacob gulped. He wasn't sure he had what it took to be Super Me after all. But then one evening, Jacob thought up a plan to stop being scared forever. "I'll need crayons, paper and lots of juice," he said. Jacob got to work and quickly made his very own superhero mask. "I'll wear it when I'm not feeling like Super Me," he thought. The next day, like every day, Jacob felt scared to ride the school bus. It was too big and the kids on it were too scary. But just as his knees started to knock, he put on his mask. Jacob stood up tall and felt the superness sink in. Suddenly, the kids on the bus didn't seem so scary. "It really worked," he said. "This mask turns me into Super Me." When he got to school, Jacob's teacher surprised the class with a spelling test. Jacob felt a bead of sweat on his forehead, so he grabbed his mask. Bam! He sat up straight and felt brave. Then he whipped out a pencil and spelled his way to full marks. Jacob's friend, Charlie, was very impressed. "Well done, Super Me," Charlie said, amazed. At lunchtime, Robbie, the school bully, squirted chocolate milk all over Jacob. "A real superhero would have seen that coming," Robbie teased. But Jacob's mask made him feel very brave indeed. Kapow! In fact, it made him feel super. "Well, you'll never be a superhero if you carry on being so horrible," Jacob replied. Then the dinner lady slapped a pile of sprouts on Jacob's plate. He was always too afraid to try them. They were balls of yuckiness. The thought of eating the sprouts was more terrifying than school buses, mean bullies and spelling tests combined. Suddenly, Jacob remembered that he was wearing his mask. "I'm Super Me. I can defeat anything, even sprouts." But then, in a whirl, Mrs. Violet stomped up and took the mask. "This is against school rules," she said with a snarl. "You may have it back at the end of the day." "Oh no," Jacob cried. He would never conquer the sprouts without his mask. Jacob took another look at the sprouts. He would have to defeat these little green monsters somehow, but they were just so yucky. Gulp. And slimy. Gulp. And gushy and mushy and moist. Double gulp. Suddenly he heard Grandma's voice in his head. "Stand up tall," she said. "Be super." "I'm Super Me," Jacob called. "I can do anything." He closed his eyes, opened his mouth, and then he did the unthinkable. He tasted, he chewed, he liked. Yum! Jacob felt great. He had triumphed over the sprouts. He had done it without the mask. After school, Jacob saw Charlie on the walk home from the bus stop. "I'm trying to ride this bike, but it's too big," moaned Charlie. "I'll never do it." "Take this," Jacob said, handing him the mask. "It'll make you brave, but give it to someone else when you're finished to help them find their Super Me too." The end. Sleep well, children.